I'm Narelle Todd.
And I'm Essie Susan Smith.
We are the self-publishing author and marketing duo that has sold over 2 million books. But we didn't start out knowing how to sell books. Fast forward past many failed promotions and a lot of lessons learned, you will see how we went from self-publishing newbies to hitting the New York Times bestsellers list and making the USA Today bestsellers list 19 times and counting. We created the Get My Book Out There podcast to give you simple yet effective marketing strategies to increase readership and book sales, so you know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, as well as some tips for staying mentally and physically well.
Let's get started.
What are we talking about today, Susan?
Not taking things personally.
Oh. Is that possible?
If you would ask me that 8 years ago, I would have said no, because that was actually a very big conversation that I had with my husband when I first started writing. And, he found out, I finally told him what I was doing. But he knew that I took everything personal. Every naysayer, whatever, I had very thin skin and really just cut me to the quick. And so this was something that I had to realize when I went to press that enter button the first night when I uploaded my books. I had to realize I was basically putting a big target not only on the center of my forehead, but also right over my heart. Because when you write a book, you've spent so much time and energy and everything on it. It's your baby. And so I'm putting my baby out there for the whole world. And what if somebody tells me my baby is ugly? My baby is not worthy or whatever. And so before I hit that button, I had to say, was I ready for this? And I think it doesn't matter how much you say, yes, I am. I don't know if you really are. And I think it's something that you finally come to this realization that the only opinion that really, 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 really matters is your own.
Yeah.
And how you feel about your work. Because otherwise, even family members, if I were to listen to some of my family members, I might have given up writing. Not because they say that my writing is bad or anything, but because they were like, you're going to get hurt. And they're concerned for me. So this is a pretty personal topic for me.
Yeah. And it's one that I see happen with every author in lots of author groups. There's always discussions around, I just got a 1 star and they said this and it was so mean and it was horrible. And so what we want to talk about today is how not to take things personally. And really this can apply for you in any area of your life. It's not just about book reviews, but obviously we're going to relate it to that. In any area, in any kind of creative endeavor that you do, there's always going to be somebody who's going to have something to say and disagree with you. And, we've all got different tastes. So, of course, somebody's going to share their opinion with you, as people are wont to do. So I wanted to share with you 2 ways not to take things personally. And I know you had a question about this recently on a Discord that you were doing.
I was on Discord and I was actually a very young girl. She was 16 and she ended up, she was listening to the seminar that I was giving on there with the Writers Factory. And she ended up emailing or messaging me and she says, I'm only 16. And she says, I love writing, but I was to the point where I was going to give it up because some of my friends and other people were saying bad things about my writing, like wasn't good enough in this, that, and the other. And I just told her flat out, I said, it doesn't matter what they think. It's what you think.
Yeah.
Everybody's got an opinion. And a lot of people will give it, whether you ask them for their opinion or not. And some people are going to give their opinion without understanding. They may have never even read your work, but they just are jealous of the fact that you're doing something that they would love to be able to do, but they can't. So she said that after listening to the seminar, because I talked about, getting those 1 stars. In fact, that I had one person who gave me, I think it was either a 2 or 3 star. And then she ended up rereading the book like 3 years later. And she came back and she says, oh my God, I went to write a review and I realized I'd already put one and I saw what I'd written. And she says, I must have been out of my mind or having a really bad day because this is definitely a 5-star book. And she says, I can't believe I gave it, I think it was a 3 star. She says, I cannot believe I gave it a 3 star. She says, I was really having a bad day. And sometimes that may just be what it is. They may just be having a bad day. You happen to be there. And so they kind of unload on you. And so talking to this young girl, we discussed a few more things. And it was just so refreshing when she says, I'm going to keep writing. She said, what you told me was such an inspiration that I'm not going to give up. And that's like, yay, yes. That's what you want to do,
Yes.
And that's what you have to do. It gets to that point where you just have to say, either not look at the reviews or only pick the reviews that that personally that you can handle. That not everybody's going to give you 5 stars. So you don't have to worry about your head, swelling up or anything like that. But you need the things that will give you that positive mojo, that positive energy to keep you being creative, that keeps you wanting to write. Because for every 1 star you get, you may get 9 or 10 5 stars, or 4 and 5 stars. You have to remember that as well.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a perfect segue, what you've just been saying, into our tips for today. And the first one is, it's not you, it's them.
Yes.
So when you get negative news of any kind, or negative feedback, let's call it that, one of the first things that I like to do is go, what is some of the things that could be happening for them that's that's resulting in this? And as you say, they could just be in a bad place in life. It could be a bad day, a bad week, a bad month. Maybe they got an unexpected bill today. Maybe they don't like a certain topic to be written about. Maybe something's happened to them that got triggered in the book. There are so many things when you look at that review to be able to say, this is more about them than it is about me. And looking at it from their point of view of perhaps what they're saying is more a review about where their life is at and what they think than it is necessarily about your book. And part of what that does is tap into, and I'm going to give you 3 points. I know I said there's only 2, but I'll give you 3. Part of doing that helps you to tap into the second point around being able to let go of any result. And what I mean by that is, we see book reviews as, oh, well, if I get some negative book reviews, it's going to impact my sales. And then it's almost a catastrophizing what that negative book review is going to actually do. My sales are going to tank. I'm not going to sell anything. People are going to see that. I'm not even going to make 1 sale, let alone, hundreds, thousands. And we make something way bigger of that one thing. So a bad review does not equal your book is going to tank. But that's often, we go from, bad review, and then all of a sudden we've jumped all the way over here to the book's bad, no one's going to buy it. Oh yeah, I'm not going to make any money. And instead of going, it's a bad review. The ability to be able to disassociate from any result is such a powerful thing to do, particularly for creatives who are so invested in what they're doing. So, if you're writing books or writing poetry, doing art, doing photos, selling photographs, whatever the thing is for you as a creative, courses even, we need to be able to disassociate ourselves from any kind of result. And then that way, it's like you get a negative review and you can then go through the process of, that person's obviously having a bad day. That negative review doesn't mean anything more than it's a negative review.
And one of the things I try and do is turn it to a positive. They were having a bad day. I was there. Maybe they unloaded on me so that their day they've gotten it out of their system. Now their day's going to be better, or they're not going to take it out on a loved one. Because that's generally what can happen is, then you go home and you chew out your kids, or you chew out your partner or whatever. And so I try to just look at it as, well, I was there for them. My book was there for them, and I was there for them. And if they want to take it out on me, it's something I have no control over. It is them, but I'll twist it around to make it a positive.
Yes.
And you also have to consider the fact that if all you get is 5 stars, then people are going to get suspicious of that. So if you have a mixture of ratings, that's very good. And even those bad ones, a lot of times if they write a bad review and it makes absolutely no sense, it has nothing to do with your book, people are going to recognize that. We've all gotten much more, I think years ago, before the reviews started, we weren't as good at recognizing what a review is, that it is just an opinion.
Yes.
where now we recognize what it is. And so we can read it and we can automatically say, oh, well, someone was obviously having a bad day, or this has nothing to do with this product. Maybe they put it on the wrong page. And so even though that review affects your ranking or whatever overall, you don't take it personal.
Yes. Yeah.
Let it go.
There are so many things that impact your ranking,
Yes.
and reviews is just one of them. And that's why you can say, well, it's just a bad review. The last point that I want to leave with is, so that, the first one was it's not you, it's them.
Mm-hmm.
This next one is, it could actually be you. My granddad used to say, even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yes.
And there may be something in that negative review that you needed to hear. When we feel strong emotion about things, it's usually because there's something there that's touched something in you, that's triggered something in you. So the chances are a legitimate bad review, that's a legitimate feedback or criticism. Maybe you did need to know that you put too many words with ED on the end, or too many words where you've missed ED, or, too many
Great story needs editing.
Yes.
I heard that a lot at the very beginning. And it's very, very stressful because you're trying to give the best thing out there. And if that's recognizing the EDs, we laugh about this because I know I was one of the ones that's guilty of this. And so you do take those comments and think of them as constructive comments. And I only look at the ones that are constructive. I'm not looking at the ones that are just hurtful. There's a difference between hurtful and, constructive. And so, and then it's like, okay, I need to improve on this. And it's the only way to improve on anything is to keep doing it. They say that you don't really become a master at anything unless you've been doing it full time for 10 years.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I always look like. They say all great successes were 10 years in the making, and it takes 10 years to get really, really good at what you're doing. So think of it those two ways, and it helps keep you motivated.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Part of not taking things personally is, as I say, it's not being attached to the outcome. So it's being able just to see it as, this is your work, but it's not you. And that's a skill. It's not something we're all kind of, we haven't come out of the womb and gone, oh, we know how to do this. We do take things personally. So practice the skill, and you will get better at it, as time goes on. You're always going to get some of the negative feedback, but it's, what do we do with that? Look at it. Is it valid? And if it is, then you can fix it, and be grateful that somebody was willing to be honest with you and actually say to you, your baby is actually ugly or whatever it is, and be grateful for that. And I think there's also a certain power in that gratitude as well, when people are being honest with you, because it makes you get so much better at your craft so much quicker. As for the trolls and the nasty people, part of being able to say, well, that's about them, not about me, is a really important skill to learn. And go through the process of, well, why would they be in that? Why would they have said that? What's going on for them? And that helps you also disassociate yourself personally from whatever that scathing review, had in there, is by going, okay, well, that's about them. I'll just leave that with them. It's not my monkeys, not my circus sort of stuff. That's up to them. And just be aware that reviews are just one part of the whole process. Some bad reviews are not going to negatively impact sales to that extent, because you're going to do some marketing things that are going to improve that. You're going to go and get more sales. There are things that you can do to counteract those negative sales. And we've spoken about many of those things in our past podcasts. So if you're wondering what it is, there's plenty there to go have a look at. We've got, we're up to number 30, I think, or so now. So go take some positive action to get out there and promote your book and to sell your book, and go get some good reviews. And
wrap yourself in positive energy to keep you motivated. Don't let the negative energy drag you down. Don't let it pull you away from where your focus is.
Yes. Use the negative for good. Yes. What can this negative do? But don't dwell on there. So, the first place you go when you go in and look at your books, each day or each week, don't go to the 1 stars. Let's go to the 5. There's plenty of evidence that shows us that, to counteract one negative feedback or, criticism, it takes like 7 to 10 positives, or probably even more now, because we are just
definitely more. It depends on the person, but I would say definitely more. And so, when I go in, I generally only read the 4 and 5 stars if I do. And I'm to the point now that I just focus on the comments left on my website, because those really mean something to me, that they took the time to come to my website and post a comment. And I know myself. I think that should be another tip. Know yourself, know your limitations, focus on what keeps you motivated, what keeps you positive, what keeps you going, and staying there. Knowing that is so critical.
Yes.
So I think this is another great tip this week. For anyone, whether you're an author, whether you're a business person, whether you're just, in a relationship, remember, everybody's got a bad day. Everyone's got a great day. Everyone's got their own opinions. Don't let that change you. You know who you are.
Absolutely. And keep writing. That's the key.
Keep writing.
Okay. Well, do leave us a message. Let us know if this was helpful. What tips do you have for dealing with negative feedback or unsolicited advice from people? Everyone seems to have some. So leave us a comment, and we'll get back to you and share those tips as well.
See you guys next week.
Bye. Hey, thanks for joining us today. We've got way more information we want to share with you to increase your book sales. So please come and join me at facebook.com. Get my book out there.